Welcome to the Delicious Dignity Podcast. Let's settle in securely and ever so nicely into the brilliance of our own dignity. Hello, lovelies! So this episode is about you belonging to yourself and wanting to enjoy being beautiful at the same time. And so how do you walk that line beauty-wise? This episode is for those folks who are confused and saddened by the beauty industry, want a lovelier approach to beauty and aging. And if you're like me and you find the world confusing, or rather the world of beauty confusing and kind of foolish sometimes and even disturbing, then I just want you to know that you're not alone. And this episode is to give you some ideas of what you can do. I am, of course, by no means in any way qualified in the traditional ways to diagnose or give you suggestions, but this is just all stuff that's worked for me over time. And I just wanted to share it with you because I wish someone had shared it with me. So this episode is going to be all about how to belong to yourself in a beautiful way. One of the things I did for this episode, and I think I'm going to do it for all the episodes, is to allow my intuition to give its 2 cents. And to really speak from my intuition. So for this episode, I asked my intuition, I said in one line, in one sentence, according to you, intuition, what is beauty? And it responded, beauty is the power of being alive. And I really had to sit with that one and really understand what my intuition meant. So I asked it to clarify for the benefit of not just me, but also the listeners for this episode. And it said, beauty means the ability to take everything around you as a betterment of your health, your aliveness, and your general well-being. Beauty is the world. Beauty is peace. Beauty is perfect health. What is perfect health? Perfect health means the amount of light you can let in and hold in your being. Beauty is being lit up from the inside out. And that was more a nod to my business tagline, which is, here's to being lit up from the inside out. And so what my intuition was showing me was another aspect of what that means to be lit up from the inside out. So I just thought I'd share that with you because I feel like it just grounds everything I'm going to say to you today in that theme. So I want to start with stereotypical beauty things I do that I love and that have worked for me. Because sometimes, I have this little critic in my head that goes, oh my God, that's so stereotypical. It's definitely not going to work for me. It's everywhere. It's definitely not going to work for me. It's just a fad. It's just a generational thing, But to my surprise, they actually did work for me. So I wanted to share these 3 stereotypical body beauty things that I do that I love. So the first one is, I mentioned it in the previous episode, which is protein. And what was surprising to me that I didn't know, that I hadn't read before, is how it affected my mood and how it affected my ability to think straight. And I genuinely think it was one of the causes of my depression. And I really didn't know that. So when I started taking it, it wasn't really that I was noticing much in my hair or nails, funny enough, but I was noticing it in my mood. And one of the biggest tips I can give you about consuming protein, and I'm going to do a whole episode on this, episode number 15. I'm going to tie it to the Love Liberation series because I really want to talk about my joy in eating protein and other things. So I'll save it for that episode. But I do want to give you this quick tip, which is if you want to try to eat anything and you're trying to learn a new habit of eating, and if you have a lot of resistance to the thing that you're consuming, try tying it to something nostalgic. Your favorite thing from childhood that you like to eat. So for example, my biggest food memories from when I was younger was us going to this hill station called Mahabaleshwar in India. And in Mahabaleshwar, they used to, at least back then, make these incredible strawberry shakes. I don't even know what to call it, a milkshake maybe. And it was the most eye-opening revelation thing I'd ever tasted in my life. I think I was about 9, maybe 10. And I remembered that. So what I did was I made the strawberry milkshake again. I tried to find recipes online to match what I remember the taste being, and I added protein to it. So all of a sudden now I enjoy drinking this protein that I was once very resistant to. That's just a little tip for you where when it comes to beauty and when it comes to feeding your body the right things, you can ask yourself, what is easy for me to do because it's nostalgic and that I can tie this food or this new routine or anything to that nostalgic thing that I used to love. And that will help you get over so much resistance to this new habit that you're trying to transform. So protein is definitely something I'm consuming a lot more now than I ever did before. And it's just lovely. Also, I should say here, I am vegetarian. That is why for me, it's, I think, even more important that I do that. I was really not getting any protein from my food. I mean, not any, but you know what I mean, not the adequate amount of protein. So the second thing that I do that I love is supplements. And supplements, according to some research studies I read, is that supplements don't actually work. They don't actually do anything. There's no such thing as supplements helping your body or anything like that. And I have to say, from my experience, that is a whole lot of nonsense because for me, they really helped. And the supplements that I rotate between, I don't take them every day. I sort of rotate and do it once every other day or something like this, depending upon how my body feels. I really listen to my body when it comes to this. And the supplements that are my favorite are the omegas, so omega-3, omega-6s, collagen, and NAC, and anything related to boosting immunity. Now, the research says there's no such thing as boosting immunity. I would also say not in my experience. The supplements I take and the way they make me feel and the fact that I don't get sick that easily and I'm just like this incredibly strong human, I feel like that's the proof enough for me. Take that for what you will. The supplements, I only take them because I cannot get the amount I need from my diet. It's not really a substitute for my diet. So I do eat very well. You know, I'm vegetarian. I love vegetables, but I just don't get the amount that I need that I feel like my body needs. And as I'm sort of amending my diet here and there, maybe I won't take as many supplements or all the supplements I'm currently taking, but until that time comes, I'm going to take them. I will say that I've seen a lot of resistance to taking supplements, both from the scientific point of view, but also just people think that they shouldn't have supplements in their body. And for me personally, that doesn't make any sense because the world is getting more polluted in some ways. In some ways, it's not. The world is also there are a lot more toxins and pathogens than there ever were before. To expect my body to keep up with all of this external stuff is, to me, an act of self-abuse and neglect. And for me personally, giving my body those supplements to help live well in the world that is around me is just an act of love. Truly, I feel that way. So that's why I take the immunity supplements, the omega supplements, and especially collagen. Oof, collagen has been so good for me. And I literally see a difference within 2 or 3 days of taking collagen supplements. And omegas, I see a difference within a day. Immunity-wise, I can tell when I've been taking my immunity supplements regularly and when I haven't been. The only thing I'm a little bit iffy about is taking vitamin C supplements because they upset my stomach. I didn't know you're not supposed to take them on an empty stomach. So I immediately would get nauseous when I took vitamin C. So I take other immunity supplements like Corolius. That's one supplement I take. And so, by the way, I'm going to try to put all the links to the specific supplements that I use. None of them are sponsoring me yet. I hope one day they do. But I'm going to put all of the links and build like an Amazon storefront or something for you so you can just look at them and do your own research. But yeah, I mean, for example, there were supplements that didn't work for me. Surprisingly, probiotics didn't do anything for me. Liver supplements didn't feel like they did anything. I still finished the bottle, but right now it doesn't seem to be what my body needs. So it's not all supplements. It's just particular ones that I use to help with what I'm noticing with my body. The third stereotypical beauty thing that I do that's related to my body in general is Pilates. I saw Pilates all over my social media for years before I finally just decided to go to a local Pilates studio and see what the fuss is about. I feel like I've never looked back. And this is specifically reformer Pilates. It's not mat Pilates. So it's using the reformer Pilates machines, and you get to lie down and have a workout. How amazing is that? Initially this year, I started with the gym, but I ended up with a lot of injuries and I didn't like how I felt after I left the gym. I always felt exhausted and kind of cranky and not in a good mood, but reformer Pilates workout, I just feel happy and high, and I'm exhausted too, don't get me wrong, but I'm in a better mood. And I also really like the studio that I go to. I don't just go to any old studio. I go to this beautiful studio with lovely instructors, and it's beautifully designed and it's very clean. And I take group classes. I don't do it alone. So yeah, I just love what it has done for me, and the fact that I can do some really intense workouts, but do it lying down or do it with a machine. And it's just so interesting and fun, and it just keeps me in a good mood. And that's maybe another tip I can give you, is that sometimes the environment does matter. And if you're in the wrong environment and you're trying to change, it can make you have to work doubly harder than you would have if you would just put yourself in a good environment that is according to maybe your personality, your aesthetics, everything, and just helped yourself along with doing this new habit. I mean, this reformer Pilates thing has so changed my life in that way that I'm actually thinking of having the owner of the studio on the show and introduce her to you as a guest and talk about what she's done with the studio and why and everything behind it. So yeah, I really do believe in these 3 stereotypical body beauty things that I do that have worked for me. I want to also tell you about stereotypical face stuff that I do. And I'm only telling you the stereotypical stuff first because I feel like these are concepts that you already know and love, and you already understand them. You've probably seen them all over the place. So I want to say that there are some things from the beauty industry that I have taken and they have worked for me. And then towards maybe the second half of this episode, I'll tell you the non-stereotypical things that I do and I don't do. Anyway, the stereotypical things for my face that I do is, so the moisturizer is the only thing I use because I have dry skin and I live in the desert. But for me, what was more important is that I buy clean products as much as possible. Clean means not necessarily the ingredients so much as that they haven't been tested on animals and there's no animal cruelty and a bunch of other things. And so far, I've only found one moisturizer that I love, that works for my skin, that moisturizes my skin. It feels good, and I love the company too. I do use a moisturizer. I do use castor oil. I love castor oil. I think it's a miracle oil, and I apply it on my face and neck, but I do mix it with other oils. By the way, if you put oil on your face, I wouldn't recommend going out and sitting in the sun with oil on your face, but I put it under my moisturizer, and I still don't sit in the sun with it. But the castor oil has really worked for me. It just moisturizes my skin. It sort of makes my skin more glowy, and I love the look of it, and I also love the feel of it. It's just really thick. So I dilute it with another oil, any other oil, jojoba oil, argan oil. Right now I'm using this very particular oil that I don't know how I feel about. That's why I'm not recommending it to you, but castor oil for sure. And it's all because I personally cannot justify spending a lot of money on skincare. So I often make my own blends of things. Oh, the one thing I do put in my castor oil is pure rose oil, which is a little bit expensive, but I love the smell of it when I put it on my face. And I only use 1 drop, and it's pretty potent. So I just love that little blend. There's nothing stopping you from getting creative with your beauty rituals, right? So yeah, I love doing that. And then the third stereotypical thing I do for my face is I use a clay mask. I just feel like it pulls out all the toxins of my face. I really like using a clay mask. So yeah. And then the 4th thing I do is I do wear eye pencil as part of my makeup, and sometimes mascara, very rarely. But again, it's from companies that have no animal cruelty. I'm almost more interested in having no animal cruelty than I am having it be, quote unquote, what people call clean ingredients. I don't know why that is, but go figure. But this is just to give you ideas for what you might use. I love on my body using dry brushing or lymphatic drainage of any kind. I don't do it enough. I wish I did, but I don't do it enough. And I love, again, using oils on my body instead of moisturizers. For some reason, oils work better. There's this beautiful Egyptian musk body oil that I use that I just cannot get enough of. And again, I'll try to link all of these in an Amazon storefront for you, but I just love the smell of it. Oh my God. As you can tell, I'm very, very attached to smell. I love things that smell good. And it's funny because I do have a sensitive nose, but I still love all the smells. My nose likes to sniff it when it's on my body. And there's no better feeling for me than sniffing my own arm and getting this beautiful scent from my own body. I just love that. Now, as far as hair and nails go, I feel like they're all supported by all the things I talked about already with the supplements and the protein. So there's not much specifically that I do there, except, of course, I wear my hair curly, naturally curly, and I do the whole curly girl method and stuff. I don't feel like I have mastered that yet. That's why I'm not sharing it. But in general, the health of my hair and nails is supported by the supplements and the protein and everything else. As far as body modifications are concerned, like I said before, I don't engage with plastic surgery or fillers or anything like that. But what I have done body modification wise is I got LASIK, and I got it done close to 15 years ago. I think I got it done less for beauty purposes and more for the fact that I kept losing my glasses and I kept getting my contact lenses. I did not take care of them well. And my eyes would keep getting like a little bit like of infection or itchy or scratchy. And I just was done with it. So I got LASIK purely out of the desperation of not having to deal with it. And that was 15 years ago. And my God, my eyes are still perfect. It's just amazing. And I really, really love LASIK. I support it 100%. And I know there are some people that might not love it, but I went to a great doctor in India and I got it done. And I'm so happy I did. The other body modification I do, if you want to call it that, is I epilate my legs and underarms. And this, again, remember in the previous episode, I talked about how your mother can influence the way you think about beauty and everything else. And this is something I directly got from my mom. One of the best things she ever taught me is about using an epilator. An epilator is like a mechanical tweezer. And it's like this machine that you just drag across your skin and it plucks out your hair. The first time I did it, very painful. After that, I'm used to it. Now it's been maybe 20 years I've been using it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't spend money on waxing. I don't spend money on any of those things. I just epilate my body and my underarms. I genuinely don't like body hair, especially down there. I don't like it at all. And while I don't use the epilator down there, but in certain areas of my body, it doesn't bother me. Like my arms, it doesn't bother me on my arms, but there are other areas it does bother me. And I like the feeling of having that tactile, smooth skin, just like me rubbing my legs together. I love that feeling when it's smooth. And I love that the device maybe costs $100 or $150 and I use it for 5 to 8 years. I just love that machine. I just love that machine. And today, now, after so many years of using it, it just takes me half an hour or less per month. Sometimes now I don't even need it that much, but once a month for half an hour or less, I epilate both my legs and my underarms. It's just amazing. It's just fantastic. Okay, now we get to the part where I talk to you about the things that I have removed from my life that have made me a more beautiful person, inside and out. Number 1 on that list is deleting or limiting my social media use. I have never had TikTok. I probably never will. I had Snapchat for maybe 2 seconds, and I never really had Twitter. Instagram is pretty much all I use, and I limit my usage of Instagram. I create these little rules that lock me out of the account when I've used it for over 5 to 10 minutes a day. If I use it more than that, it locks me out. There are times where I will delete the app off my device just to give me some clarity, and I cannot tell you how much that has worked for me. Not having social media to look at for weeks at a time really changed my brain. I was so full of ideas, so full of creativity, so full of energy. I didn't realize how even those 5 to 10 minutes would drain me so much on social media. And that has really been so good for my health. Truly, it has. It just feels like it's given me so much more energy than I used to have before. In fact, a lot of times, I would say over maybe 50 or 60% of the time when I do work with clients and they tell me that they don't have energy, they don't feel passionate about life, they don't feel creative, the first question I ask them is how much time they spend on social media. It's gotten to that point now. And I mean, it's not all the time, like I said, but 50 to 60% of the time, that's one of the things that really drains people. And I don't think people realize how much it drains them until they cut it out completely. You can cut it out for maybe 2 or 3 days. Doesn't have to be weeks like me. You can cut it out for 1 day. Just see how you feel. You don't have to go full swing into something. You can tip your toe into it. Dippy your toe. Dippy. I don't know where that came from, but you know what I mean. You can dip your toe into it. The second thing I removed is the way I work with water, especially the shower head. I removed the shower head in the bath and I replaced it with a shower filter and a much better shower head. And that just made my skin less itchy and it made my hair fall less because my hair was falling a lot. And having a shower filter and having a nice proper shower head, especially if you live in a rental apartment, really changes the way your skin feels. The third thing I removed that made me a more beautiful person is the news. I don't think we were built to consume this global levels of anxiety and anger and helplessness and shock. It's global levels of that being thrown at you to one individual person. I really don't think our bodies and our minds were built for that. I don't think they should be built for that. That being said, though, I do watch the news, but I only subscribe to news where I'm hearing a lot of positive news. So positive climate change news, positive stories of heroes, positive stories, things like that. Like it's still news, but have you seen how few people will want to subscribe to something like that? Nobody wants to do that because somehow people think that consuming this anger and anxiety producing news is more important than consuming the news that is actually making the world a better place. And one of my favorite types of news, by the way, is positive climate change news. It's just how innovative and how creative people have become with handling the climate and doing better for nature in general. It's just beautiful to see, and it inspires me to be innovative and creative in my own life for everyday life problems. So I just love that. But the other type of news I just do not subscribe to. The other thing I removed is birth control. I don't work with birth control. I used it for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I felt like a completely different person and I did not enjoy that feeling. So I do not use the birth control pills. And of course, I quit smoking. I was a chain smoker for about 12 years, 12 to 15 years, on and off. And I quit smoking. And yeah, it just made me feel like smoking was sort of draining me. Even though it was supporting me emotionally, it was also draining me. And once I quit that, I just had a lot more time, honestly, because instead of smoking cigarettes all the time, I was actually devoting it to taking care of myself. Caffeine. Caffeine is another thing I removed because it made me feel really wired and really high, and I didn't feel good. I started to not feel good. Now, when I was younger, I didn't get that big a difference. Caffeine didn't bother me as much, but now I don't know if it's the quality of the coffee or whether it's my body getting older. I just cannot handle caffeine the same way. The problem is I do love the taste of coffee. Oh my God. The smell of fresh brewed coffee, the taste of it, just so delightful. So I will order decaf and I will only drink coffee outside my house. I don't carry it inside the house. So I always do a decaf anything whenever I do get caffeine. And somehow even that makes me a little bit buzzed. So that's really funny. But cutting it out just made me feel less dry inside. I don't know how else to describe that. Similarly, I cut out drinking alcohol as much. I naturally don't eat a lot of sugar, but the alcohol thing, I like a glass of wine every now and then, and I like my whiskeys and my bourbons. I love the taste of them, but I will only do it outside the house. I don't buy wine and consume it inside the house. I very rarely will I do that, and only on special occasions. I just feel like alcohol dries me out, and then the next day I'm always a little bit sluggish. And I didn't enjoy that feeling. So and this was revolutionary for me because even I make a lot of chai, like real traditional Indian chai. And as you know, chai has black tea, which is pretty high in caffeine. So even with my chai, with this desire to cut out caffeine, I will use decaf black tea in my chai, which I know so many people have not heard of that, but it does exist. Decaf black tea does exist. Yeah, that just sort of removing that feels like less drying to my body, and I just have a lot more juice inside of me, as weird as that might sound, for me to live my life well. EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. This is a big one because I don't wear any devices on my skin. I don't even have Bluetooth earbuds. I used them maybe once or twice, and I felt like my brain was frying, and I did not like that feeling. So I still wear wired headphones. The only thing I can't control is the EMF in my car, but I'm still researching EMF blocking devices. I don't know how much I believe that they do that or not, but I'm still researching that. And by EMF in the car, by the way, I mean all the tech screens and all the tech in your car, right? It radiates a certain frequency. If it's battery powered, even that radiates some frequency. So trying to reduce that in my car is going to be an ongoing experiment. But as far as my person is concerned, no electronic watches on my wrist, especially because it touches my pulse. It's not something I like, that feeling of. And I always wear wired headphones, and I just feel so much better using those than I do Bluetooth anything. And of course, I stopped straightening my hair. Now I wear my hair curly. So those were 7 things that I removed that I feel like made me so much more of a beautiful person and so much more lit up. Now, maybe less stereotypical things externally that I added that I felt made me a more beautiful person. And I say it's less stereotypical because when we talk about beauty, these things are never mentioned. They may be mentioned in the health world, but not so much when it comes to beauty. And one of the biggest things that I added was really committing to doing health checkups. So doing the preventive diagnostic work has been more important to me than ever. This includes blood work, hormone panels every year, gynecologist. Oh my God, I had such a big resistance to going to the gynecologist, but getting pap smears done, getting my breast checked, like all of these things, they really support how beautiful I am and how beautiful I feel. And the third thing being dental cleaning. Oh my God, getting your teeth cleaned on a regular basis. I get mine cleaned 4 times a year and my insurance covers it. So I never used to like the dentist, and maybe I still don't. But again, the environment matters. The dentist I have now, the person who cleans my teeth now, they're just so lovely to work with. And again, if you're scared of going to the dentist or it bothers you, just choose a dentist or choose an environment that makes you feel good and comfortable. You don't have to push yourself to do these things if it makes you uncomfortable, because then you're never going to do it. So be gentle and love yourself through it. Currently, I'm working on why my gut has become so big. I keep hearing it's all about cortisol and everything. I don't know if I believe that entirely, but that's what I'm working on. When I figure out the gut issue, when I figure out why it's so unnecessarily big, I will let you know. But in general, health checkups and doing preventive diagnostic work is so important for my beauty regimen. It truly is. And the second thing that I added was stretching or restorative yoga. I think it's yin or restorative. I think those are 2 different things, but yin and restorative yoga together is just brilliant, because the yoga is not so much about doing poses yoga is never about doing poses, but I feel like that's what it's become. Traditional yoga, like I've said so many times, does not do anything for me. It makes me feel really horrible. But restorative yoga and yin yoga and stretching exercises in general have just made my body feel more limber and loose. And of course, it drains your lymph nodes and it gives your body this ability to just be a flexible, supple, I love that word, supple human. To go off of that, continuously de-stressing like it's my job. That's all I do all the time is just de-stress. Anything to help me de-stress, whether it's stretching, whether it's restorative yoga, whether it's even energy release work. And I really, truly think energy release work makes everyone so much more beautiful because you literally start glowing. Even massages, if I can get them. Anything that involves sort of flicking off the stucky things that have stuck to you during the day, whether it's energy, whether it's physically, whatever form it's come at you, whether it's mentally or emotionally, constantly just flicking it away, releasing, what would I call it? Unwinding, unfolding, defragging, whatever you want to call that feeling. I do that constantly. I'm constantly releasing. I do not like having anything stuck to me. I do not like having that feeling of being sort of burdened by the world. So if I feel that way, and even if I don't feel that way, I just incorporate energy release work into my regimen. If I'm at a stoplight, I will do some energy release work. If I'm at the grocery store shopping for vegetables, I'll do energy release work. It's constant, and it just frees me up to be more of me and less of my emotional reactions to the world, if that makes sense. To that end, self-therapy, because I've been doing this work for a while, so just therapizing myself, I actually do sessions with myself. They're really fascinating. In fact, one of the episodes coming to you is going to be about how I do oracle readings for myself. And that's just one type of therapy I do with myself, but I literally treat myself like I'm my own client and I therapize myself. And of course, in that vein, also working with other people has really, really helped me. Nothing has helped me more than doing sessions with people who are really good at what they do and really understand the depth of what I am feeling and what I'm going through. It's just been incredible. Eating lots of vegetables, and I mean lots, especially good quality groceries. I mean, if you just go to a farmer's market, right, and you just see all of the different vegetables out there, the different colors, the people talking, and the vibe of the farmer's market, I highly recommend just going to a farmer's market just for the vibe. Forget anything else, but just for the vibe, just for like feeling, I don't know, feeling the organicness of it all, if that makes sense. But just directly from farms, having your vegetables come directly from farms is always a good idea. And, maybe you are in a place that does that, maybe not, but just try to get good quality groceries as much as you can. Or if that's not an option, maybe learn how to forage and hunt yourself. And that will be a beautiful way to connect to the food that you're eating. The seventh thing that I added that I feel like just contributed so much to my beauty is being around nature. And if I can't be around nature, I watch nature documentaries. I can't explain it to you because I don't know how to explain it to you, honestly, but just watching whales in the water or looking at monkeys groom each other, there's something infinitely beautiful about that. And I feel like I almost get a hit of that beauty myself. So if you can't actually spend time in nature for whatever reason, nature documentaries are always just absolutely beautiful. Silence. I spend a lot of time in silence, or at least I try to, because I just feel like it stops the noise of the world from becoming my noise. Sometimes we try to make meditation this big, huge thing, but sometimes just being silent. Just being silent is all you have to do. And I think I said this before, but this combines more nature and the constantly de-stressing part that I mentioned before. So constantly, and maybe the word is not de-stressing, maybe it's constantly resting. I think that's what it's closer to. I rest like it's my job. And one of the ways I do that is I sit on my patio and I just look at the trees swaying in the wind. I have this rose bush on my patio and I'll look at the wind blowing through the roses. Just something as simple as that. I'm spending time in nature and I'm sort of in silence, and at the same time I'm resting. I'm letting my eyes rest on something that is naturally beautiful, naturally beautiful. And I feel like that, it's like I fill my eyes with beauty, natural beauty. And that just keeps me grounded in myself and in my purpose and in my own energy. I do think moving away from cities has made me more beautiful because I just felt like every time I'm in a city, I couldn't hear myself think. It just felt like there were people on top of me, especially when I was working in an office or I was living in a large apartment building. I just felt like there were people constantly on top of me and there were just too many people around me. And not that I don't love people, I just feel like there's this thing of overpopulation. And I don't think that many people need to be in 1 square foot or in 1 square kilometer or in 1 square mile of a space. I think having space in general, just more space, can make people more beautiful because that crowded mass consciousness that accumulates in one space can be really overwhelming and really debilitating when you're trying to live this big life. But that's worked for me. It may or may not work for you, but I truly feel like I've come into my own once I moved away from cities. I get a lot of sunlight, but not on my skin. And I do feel like that sunlight coming into my eyes, especially morning sunlight, it activates something in my brain and just makes me feel I have this permanent smile on my face whenever I feel like I can hear sunlight sometimes, but whenever I feel like the sunlight in my eyes, it's just beautiful. And again, you don't have to be sitting in the sun. In fact, I wouldn't recommend that. But just having sunlight enter your eyes and spending more time in sunlight does something to my brain and it does something to my body. Sometimes it feels like I'm actually eating the sun. I don't know how to say that, but it feels like my body is just absorbing something from sunlight. And I don't know how else to explain that, but doing that truly, I feel like I get such a beautiful energy boost from it. And that just lights me up on the inside. I drink a lot of clean water whenever possible. It's always either reverse osmosis water or water that's been filtered really well and minerals added. But in general, I just drink almost exclusively filtered reverse osmosis water. I'm not talking about the Brita filter. I'm talking about the reverse osmosis machine. I believe Whole Foods has it, and that's only in America, but they have those machines where you can fill your own water and take it home, and it's a reverse osmosis machine. But I don't know if they have it in other countries or in other cities, but they have it here. And also, I think chocolate is medicine. It's really been, whenever I eat chocolate, I just feel good. And I think it just does truly make me a more beautiful person and not restricting myself in any way, where my body naturally says I'm done. I mean, I've gotten to a place where I can tell when my body is done. I can understand the signals. And I can just eat whatever I want, whenever I want. I've never restricted myself. And just the thought of restricting anything in my diet is so dehumanizing to me. For me, I would rather go to the gym or rather go to Pilates more than eat differently or eat less or count my calories or do any of that. That is just not something I will do. And I have noticed that people who do that are actually really grumpy. They're really grumpy. They're really not in a good mood. And I don't do that. And I really love that I don't restrict myself. But let's say the time comes when I, for whatever reason, need to restrict myself. I will not. I will eat whatever I want to eat. But then I will also just go to the gym more, go to Pilates more. The only caveat to this is I understand my body signals and I am close with my body. I'm intimate with my body. So I've gotten to the point where I know how much I want to eat, what I don't want to eat, and what's good for me and what isn't. I love the concept of intuitive eating. I work with it every day. I absolutely love it. But again, intuitive eating only works if you have strong intuition, if you've done your energy release work and your anxiety is not interfering with your intuition, and you can actually hear it and then you can actually act on it. I wouldn't say intuitive eating is for everybody, for sure, but it really works for me. And I will never, ever, ever, ever live in any other way that requires me to restrict anything that I eat. And can you just feel the energy of why that makes me so beautiful, why that would make anybody so beautiful? They're just happy. They don't restrict themselves. They're in tune with their body. They're in tune with their mind, and they do what they need to do. So yeah, that's what I have to say. So now we get to the ritual part. And the ritual part is it's just very simple. In the previous episode, I asked you a question. I asked you if you can compare how much you spend on your beauty products and all of the different aspects of beauty, and how much you spend on what we would consider health. And I asked you to just write it down, just look at it, right? That's why the ritual is called the just look at it ritual. You didn't have to do anything with it. So for this part of the ritual, I'm going to ask you, now that you've noticed what your budget is and how much, well, not your budget, but how much you spend on health versus beauty products, I wonder if you could just redirect just a tiny bit of those funds from beauty to health and see whether that doesn't make you a more beautiful person. So for example, I'm sorry if this sounds weird, but I honestly don't know how much people spend on these products. So let's just say you spend $500 on skincare every month. So maybe you see that, and maybe you take $200 off that and redirect those funds towards health. So maybe with those $200 that you take away from your skincare, you put it towards a massage, or you put it towards a session with someone, whatever session you want. Maybe you put it towards getting a specific hormone panel outside of your insurance, whatever that might be. So that was maybe not that great an example, because again, I don't know how much people spend, but that's just an example of how you might redirect your funds for that one particular month and see how you feel. And yeah, that's your ritual. Redirect, and maybe it's not $200, maybe it's $50. One small step that you can take to redirect. Because again, this is all about you sort of getting out of the beauty rat race and getting into the real beauty, like the real beauty vortex, like beauty with a capital B, that kind of beauty. And so, yeah, all the things I said today, it might be easy for me to say all of this in my 30s, and I am saying that I reserve the right to do whatever I want as I get older. Maybe new things come out in the medical world or in the beauty world that I actually respect. And so maybe I will adopt those. Maybe I won't. And so do you. You reserve the right to change your mind at any point. You deserve the right, and you have the right to do whatever it is you want to do. You can change your mind from this minute to the next. It's your body. It's your face. It's your beauty. It's your life. You do what you got to do, okay? But let's just focus on the now. Let's not worry about what's going to happen in 5 years. Are you still going to have the same beauty regimen? No. Just focus on now. What is something you'd love to do now in terms of redirecting your funds? So my lovelies, may your beauty complement your dignity. Much love to you. Mwah. Bye.